Correct on DaveBeyondTV, where we go beyond the everyday bullshit that people be consuming on a day-to-day basis. And happy 717 day. It's 717, 717, you know what I'm saying? So celebrate you today. I know I'm going live mad late in the day. Wanted to go live earlier, but had a whole lot of shit to do, and I think that is in alignment with the energies going on of the day and how we should be utilizing it. So let's jump right in. You know what I'm saying? No need to waste any time. I don't got my other music player at the moment, so you know what I'm saying, we just gonna jump right into it. So off the bat, we got the moon in Sagittarius, we got the sun in Cancer. So both of these energies share Jupiterian energy, right? We got the so Sagittarius where Jupiter is home, sun is Cancer is where Jupiter is exalted. So off the rip, expansion of emotions, but let's go even deeper to that, because I feel like that's a very surface level explanation of what's really going on. So when it comes to these two energies, right, how we feel, what we're reacting and responding to is somewhat philosophical philosophy, what we believe as far as a moral system. What we're reacting to is wanting to be free, wanting to be open, wanting to expand on things, wanting to learn more, learn more about what it is that we're experiencing at the moment based upon what we feel. So, there's many different ways this could play out, but for the most part with the sun in Cancer, again, we're looking at everything through the emotional lens, through what we're still sensitive about. Now we're approaching the full moon. Full moon it's on the cusp of Aquarius and Capricorn, and it's really leaning more so on the Aquarius side just by the nature. It's, even though it's happening in Capricorn, I still kind of consider it low-key a full moon in Aquarius, just simply because it's still Aquarian themes just being filtered through a little bit of that Capricorn energy. So what that's going to look like is the Capricorn representing status, your status being satisfied. Basically, it's energy of needing to be satisfied with your status amongst your network, you know what I'm saying, or amongst your community, or whoever you're associating yourself with, or within yourself, having a certain level of feeling a sense of self-respect, feeling like, okay, I'm not letting up on too many of my boundaries that's allowing me to feel vulnerable in ways that I don't want to feel vulnerable. And a lot of that takes shadow work, you know what I'm saying? The opposition between Capricorn and Cancer, the whole energy dynamic between the two, that's really where it's rooted in. It's like, you got to understand, in order for Capricorn to get where it's at, it had to understand a certain depth of emotion. It had to get over certain insecurities in order to secure itself and move in the way it likes to move. Same thing with Cancer. For Cancer to be what it is, it had to respect and lay down boundaries for itself in order to develop safety and comfort in a certain area. So this whole transit in and of itself, like I was speaking of back when we was having a new moon, and even back in the beginning of Cancer season, it was all about developing this new comfort zone. So at the end of, now we're in the final decan of Cancer, right? 25 degrees at the moment. We got 5 more days of this Cancer energy, right? But until we have to jump into Leo energy, where Leo energy is the it's when the lion starts to roar. It's like when you are now on that center stage platform, and it's not about being nervous. All that nervousness need to be gone. All the insecurities need to be gone, dealt with, you know what I'm saying? And it's not that it's not going to affect you. It's not that you're not going to feel fear or not going to feel nothing that you don't want to feel. All it is to say that you are at a point where none of that matters anymore. It's time for you to now express yourself to the fullest degree. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not willing to express yourself how you want to, or you're not willing and able to handle ridicule and criticism, then you're going to find yourself in a very dark place during a time where it's about shining. It's about popping out. You know what I'm saying? And you really got to show everybody what it is that you represent. Again, it's the heart of the summertime. You can't be scared at this point. You can't be afraid. You can't let these different insecurities and things like that go go against you. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Jauki. I'm probably saying that wrong. Appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? I see how that goes, you know what I'm saying? Hey, look, we got the trolls in here. So, shout out to the trolls giving the energy, you know what I'm saying? Giving their energy. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it's 717 day. I'm gonna take that shit right up. You know what I'm saying? That's all for me. So for the most part, you know, when it comes to this energy, you know, when we're developing these different things, right? As far as ideas on how to go about things at the moment, you got to understand that, again, your focus, all this Cancer energy needs to go into investments towards you feeling secure in yourself enough to stand tall and be who you are. But before we even get to that, right, before as we approach Leo season with the moon in Sagittarius, that's the whole thing. It's about expansion, right? Now, the moon in Sagittarius is kind of like, again, emotional responses towards expanding, right? Being adaptable, mutable with how we feel and how we see things. So in order to develop more comfort into whatever it is that you're involving yourself in and you're investing time and energy into, you need to be figuring out how to expand yourself in that way. It's a matter of being adaptable and changeable to how you see things, right? You might need to be more optimistic in order to develop that last bit of confidence and comfort in that new area and space that you're trying to move into. Now, where the energy gets negative is if you feel like it's time to escape. So again, you might start feeling the pressure of whatever you're into that is new and that you're giving life to and that you've been investing in. Shout out to Famous Malo. Shout out to Famous Malo. You know what I'm saying? What up, bro? So you might still be shy and wanna move away from energy that you've been stepping into. It's this new comfort zone that you're working with at the moment, and due to the same insecurities that keep coming back up that you haven't addressed, things that you chose not to communicate. Again, we passed through the moon in Scorpio. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Carolina. You said new subscriber, welcome aboard. You know what I'm saying? This is DaveBeyondTV, where we go beyond that everyday bullshit that people be consuming on a day-to-day basis, and we kick astrology, spiritual shit, stuff for spiritual empowerment, things like that. I drop music and I do film as well. So, you know, welcome aboard. Glad to have you. So for the most part, you know what I'm saying? All right. You know, when we're talking about this, right? This energy and what we're preparing ourselves for, what we're strengthening ourselves in, it takes a level of being willing to expand. See, now, if you are not in a space where you want to expand, you're in a space where you're trying to resist that, that's where the moon in Sagittarius is going to start to put you in an escapism mode, where now you're going to try to run away from that new comfort zone that you've been trying to develop for yourself. So whatever new endeavor it is that you've been doing, and remember, this is a waxing period right now, so we should have already been investing heavy time and energy into doing new things in the direction of what we want to manifest and see for ourselves, right? So as you're going about these things and doing what you're doing, it gets to a point now with the moon in Sagittarius that you might start to get second thoughts based upon your inability to develop a mutable way of seeing and feeling about things. And what I mean by that is you can't quite find the moral system, the morality, or you can't find the meaning and reasoning to give you motivation or make you comfortable with optimism. So you might still be looking at things through a lens that's more critical, more negative. You might have more Virgo energies or more Gemini energies that'll lead you to criticize instead of actually have faith in what it is that you're trying to do. So you might look at all the ways in which something could go wrong, and that'll prevent you. That might scare you into wanting to escape from what you've been moving along as a path to get more comfortable with new things. Now, let's take that back, right? Moon in Sagittarius is opposite Jupiter, its home planet, right? Jupiter is currently in Gemini. So this energy is being uncomfortable with our experiences, right? But see, with that uncomfortability, we have to be willing to still want to expand in it. If you're too scared to expand, again, you're going to start to self-sabotage. You're going to put yourself in spaces where, again, you're going to start to avoid responsibilities, where, again, you're going to trip yourself up essentially, because as you start to avoid more and more responsibilities. And when I say avoid responsibilities, keep in mind, I'm talking about the moon in Sagittarius. There's emotional or internal or mental responsibilities we have to maintain a proper state of being in order to get from point A to point B. Remember, we create our reality based upon what it is that's going on within us. So if you are too lazy, or you're too I don't think lazy is the right word, but let's say you don't take the responsibility for, well, lazy actually is the perfect word. You don't take responsibility for your own mentality to protect yourself as you go through different phases and things like that, experiences in life that might agree with your energy or disagree. Again, sometimes, again, when you get up and go to work, It's your responsibility to develop a mentality to get through that shift without giving up on yourself. When you get home, giving up on your dreams, you're gonna get hit with so many different energies. Even little shit like this, going live, a bunch of people I don't know saying what any and everything in my fucking chat. If I was a person, if I was a lazy spirit, right, and I had lazy or lost spirit syndrome, LSS, and I didn't know how to develop a proper mentality that can withstand a little bit of disagreements with my energy, or I couldn't go through a hard day at work without getting home and having to go through a back and forth with myself as far as whether or not I should keep pursuing what I'm really interested in and what lights my fire inside, I would not be where I'm at. I would be self-sabotaging in other ways. I would choose escapism through the use of other substances and stuff like that, to the point where I'm basically, like I said, sabotaging yourself. Again, everybody, most people want to, indulge in certain things. And I'm not saying you're not allowed to indulge, but I'm saying when things become an addiction, when things become, and by addiction, I mean something becomes something you overindulge in to the point where you start to use it as an excuse as to why you're not where you want to be at. Like, you got to think about it from that perspective sometimes. When you see people who are addicted to certain things like hard drugs and alcohol and stuff like that, again, I get it. You chose to do that to cope with something. But at some point, you chose the easy way out. You chose to use that as a cop-out and got to a point where you depended on that. And now you can use it as an excuse on a physical level, whether the drugs fucked you up or the alcohol fucked you up or put you in a space where you got to now go to rehab or jail. You can use that as a physical excuse that you manifested, but you can blame it on something external as to why you're not actually living in your purpose. It's almost like when you in your own space and you talking to God, you know damn well you did these things to yourself. You can blame it on anybody else in your life that you want, but you know you did these things to yourself, and it was a subconscious response, right? Again, on the conscious level, you was just doing this because you was going through a hard time, you had a hard life, whatever it is, right? Whatever excuse you told yourself. And again, I understand, life is not easy. People in different circumstances. I'm grateful of what I didn't have to go through. And I make sure I live up to what I'm supposed to do every day to make, to show my appreciation for that. But I understand people, fall short in all kinds of ways. We all do. But what I notice is that when people start to become dependent on certain things, a lot of time it's a subconscious decision that they make to sabotage themselves within this lifetime so that they can blame everything on something external just because they didn't know, either didn't have support or didn't have the know-how on how to get themselves out of the mud and go for what it is that they were called to do, aka letting God work through you. So you chose something else to pray to as a God, aka that bottle, aka that drug, aka that addiction to something, you know what I'm saying, whatever it might be. So, we have to keep these types of things in mind. So, that moon in Sagittarius goes deep because, see, being that these energies both share Jupiterian aspects, it's like a very deep time for you to kind of really dive into your own meanings and reasonings as to why certain things you care about and why certain things you don't care about, and whether or not you really care about yourself, and how far does that go? How far do you really care about yourself? Are you willing to let go of these things, or are you still going to use these things as a scapegoat every time it is time for you to jump into a new space or develop a new awareness, that's not always comfortable? You know what I'm saying? So we all make that decision in our lives, and it's a hard thing it's a hard pill to swallow. You know what I'm saying? It's a hard pill to swallow. But and that can make that can make you want to escape it. That can make you want to run away from it. But you really can't run away from life. Either way, you're going to have to live it. And it's up to you to develop to decide what the quality of your life is going to be. You know what I'm saying? While we have this time available to us, how are you finna use it? Is you finna waste it, abuse it, or you about to turn it into something that you can be proud of? And that's what we all have to do. We have to be willing to do that for ourselves. That shows how much you really love yourself. Whether or not you can take your situation, no matter how fucked up it is, and turn it into gold. Because God gave that ability in all of us. You know what I'm saying? And we really have that ability. And then again, as you do that for yourself, you might not see the physical manifestations of that fast. You might not see the money, you might not see the stability, you might not see all the material things, but you don't understand you develop wealth in a place that's way more valuable. And not to get too outside of you know, what we're talking about, because you know, we at a time where we have to be a lot more rooted in reality when it comes to spirituality. We got to remind ourselves, because and let's jump, that's a good segue into Saturn and Pisces. With Saturn and Pisces, that's the whole thing. How do we root ourselves in reality so that we don't have to keep escaping it? We can experience our dream in the present moment. And that could be what we experience for them. You know, we can experience our dream in the present moment without the need to feel like we got to escape every 2 minutes, right? Everything in society we see is crumbling down. To the people who don't have a sense of self, or don't aren't into their own spiritual development, this could look like a very terrifying time, because everything that they once did depend on and put all their hope and dreams and imagination into, now is showing them that that shit wasn't real to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to McCoby. So it's showing them now that's like, damn, that wasn't even something to be worth investing in. You wasted time. A lot of people are realizing they wasted time based upon illusions and things like that, especially with Saturn going retrograde in Pisces. But that's not a bad thing, you know, because it's helping you get out of those things for you to decide for yourself to make that reality in the present. Now, with it squaring the moon, it's kind of interesting because the moon is getting hit with a lot of a couple challenging aspects. Jupiter itself being opposite, and I don't even think I finished that. Let me finish that first, right? So Jupiter opposite the moon, I said uncomfortable with experiences, but what's actually happening is Jupiter is requiring a little more analyzation, communication, right, in order to have faith. But the moon in Sagittarius is looking at things from wanting to experience it. So we want to experience, and we might not want to do all the talking, but the communication is highly important right now. A lot of that Jupiter and Gemini energy is helping with the Pluto and Aquarius energy, which is, it's almost like you got to look at Pluto and Aquarius as transformations needed to create the preparation for the new age, right? So a lot of what's going on is in terms of energy in general is like, I keep saying more community-based things. And what, you know, to clarify what I mean by that, when I say community-based things, right, what I mean is more and more how we say teamwork makes the dream work. Because it's not like, oh, everyone's just going to automatically branch off into communities and that's how it's going to be. No, what's happening is energetically, because Aquarius energy is about association. It's about uniqueness. It's about innovation. And it's about rebellion. People gather together to rebel against things. You know what I'm saying? Like like-minded individuals gather together to create revolution and things like that. Right? So the world itself, we can already see, is forming in a way where it's kind of like we can see right now on the news and stuff how they promoting and going about. Shout out to Just Be Free. He said, I'm currently going through my Saturn and Pisces in my 7th house. Real talk. It's your Saturn return, because it's my Saturn return in the 4th. But what we see in society right now, it's like, damn, like this shit is really crumbling. Like this shit is really, you know, falling right before our eyes. But you got to remember, the people who run the world, how they put it together in the first place was a form of associating many different people, many different, you know, unique perspectives that found a way to work together for a common interest, common goal. Being that we're moving into a time where that's what we're supposed to be doing, that's what I mean by you should be aware of different things in ways that you can start to associate with the people that you probably already been associating with, but now the intention can be transformating that connection into something that y'all can now come together, and it'll be a structured system that can look like being able to set a new tone or provide a new way of going about things for y'all to be supported and protected without having to be dependent on whoever's operating things at the moment. It's kind of like, you know, and that's why certain things like you know, what we're putting together, like even with the 717 conference, the point of it is to get more familiar with that, even though there's many different steps involved to get to that point. And shout out to Mooney Mercury, because and Saint and Zay Quarter, we finna go live talking just about politics, that politic aspect of things, because it's been a lot of business going on, right? But even, you know, again, it's 5 pillars, and all these pillars are dependent in order to uphold a structure. You know what I'm saying? If you missing one, it's weak in one area. And so just like how business itself is great for, you know, getting your 1-2, getting your resources, being able to have leverage and you know, and invest in things, right? Politicking is necessary to know how you're supposed to be associating with people for progress to be had. You know what I'm saying? For progress to be made, for balance, for proper relating to go on within whatever structure it is that y'all got going on. Education is needed for y'all to have the wisdom and knowledge to know what you're doing in this politic, and to know what to say, to know what you're talking about, the purpose of the conversation, and for that conversation to go towards something constructive. Entertainment needs to be used, because entertainment is what gets the attention. It's what allows, and it's like the purpose of art. You know, art is used to connect. So entertainment a lot of times becomes the common thread. You know, even on a very basic third dimensional level, when you go to work, what's the first thing you and your coworker probably gonna chop it up about? What was on TV last night, what you watching on Netflix, or at one point it was what you was watching on TV last night. That's when before Netflix and shit. But nowadays, what you watching on Netflix, you know, what you into. Yo, I seen this TikTok video. You seen this yet? Yo, I was on Twitter the other day and I heard X, Y, and Z. Entertainment becomes the common thread, even in music, the way music is used, even as an individual artist, to express themselves, and again, other people resonate with your music or people don't resonate with your music, but it's about connection. Same thing with art. I paint a piece, I give it to you, you can see, you know what I'm saying? You can either agree with it, you connect with it, or you reject it. It's not for you. But that's what entertainment does, you know what I'm saying? And we talked about entertainment, politics, business, education, and the last one being what's the last one? Politics, education, business, I forgot the last one. But all these different things are necessary in order for that structure to be solid and solidified. And when we talk about, you know, again, I ain't gonna get too deep into religion, exactly, belief systems. Thank you. Shout out to Just Be Free. So that right there, religion itself, what you believe in, and the ability that, you know, and we understand religion is really about it goes deep, because it's about religion is different from psychology, but it plays a part into it. It's belief systems, morality systems, what's technically, you know, in a sense, because we know there is no real right or wrong, but this is what we start to develop as a sense of morality in terms of how we should go about connecting, and what the meaning and reasoning is behind what we're doing, the purpose of it, you know, and whether or not that's in a positive light or a negative light, you know what I'm saying? And when I look at positive and negative, well, I ain't gonna get too deep into that, because that's kind of a different subject than what we necessarily talking about at the moment. And again, we at a time right now, I keep saying it, you know, it's July, so we know, as far as how the people who run the world and how they're operating and moving things, they're doing everything in their power to get your attention towards something. So along with that, you can just look at this time as spiritual warfare being at an all-time high. We've been saying this, how important it is for your mentality to be secured at the moment. And then going through Cancer time is such a sensitive time, right? And it goes against, like, a lot of what we got to do during Cancer time, it goes against what actually feels right. And so we all kind of dealing with this internal fight to stay on track on what it is that we trying to put ourselves, you know, put together for ourselves in life. So Cancer is a weird time, and again, we're approaching an opposition to Pluto, which is why it feels so intense. And it kind of goes to my point of this age of Aquarius and everything that it's doing for us. The sun getting close to this opposition in Pluto, what it's doing within each of us on an individual level, it's exposing, again, things that just straight up need to transform in order for us to properly associate, either with well, usually it's for yourself first, because you got to remember, you as a spirit are associating with yourself too. You got to associate with your desires, make sure they have enough attention. You have to associate with, with your goals, your path, things that you want to accomplish during this limited time we have on this planet. You got to associate with different feelings and reactions you have to other people, your peers doing things similar to you, your family maybe. There's a lot of self-association that goes into things first that develop your individuality. And then when you go out into the world, that's why, it's always important to gather yourself. That's the whole purpose of the morning time. Like, so many people kind of don't really have a strong morning routine. So the first thing they do when they wake up is jump right into the world. You getting toe up as soon as you jump into the world. You didn't take no time to, and I'm not saying this is what you got to do for your morning routine, but you ain't take no time to meditate, get your mind right, prepare yourself to be interactive with other individuals who, again, they lost themselves. They got different doubts and fears on their mind that will immediately influence you if you ain't got the right mental protection system to defend yourself and operate and move effectively within the world. Second, you step out with your dream, that should get crushed. Second, you clock into work, your dream get crushed just by being at work and dealing with people all day and stuff like that. You come home, you forget all about those goals you had until you see somebody else do what you want to do. And then you got two choices. Either it inspires you to get back up and do what you got to do, or you turn into a hater. Now, hate can be used in a positive way. It's not about what, it's about how. Hate is a powerful energy. You can use that to your advantage. But so many people don't do that. They don't transmute hate into something productive and positive. They take that hate and they embody it. They become hate. They start to hate themselves. So everything out their mouth becomes a reflection of how they see themselves. And that's why you got trolls on the internet. That's why you got people that don't got nothing to do but jump in somebody else's live and talk shit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Right. Shout out McCoby. We can hate failure, right? Motivate you to get up off your ass and not make the same mistake twice. Shout out to everybody on the East Coast. It just changed, but it was 7:17 on the clock. I caught it. Hopefully y'all caught it too. Hey, it's happy 7:17 day. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But real shit, we can hate mediocrity. We can hate different parts of ourselves that deserve to be hated. And when I say parts of ourselves, things that are really not a part of us at all. Things that we are addicted to, things that we are still entertaining, that we been need to separate from. We can hate those things and separate from those. You know what I'm saying? So hate is a powerful energy that could be used for positive shit. We can hate bullshit. We can hate, again, people who, I don't know how to say that in a PG way, but y'all know what I'm talking about. We can hate people that be doing stuff that should be hated on. You know what I'm saying? That's not an energy we got to run away from. But the point is, how is you transmuting that? And so many times, like I said, within this frame, when you know you're not doing what you necessarily want to do, but you see somebody else who's doing it and they doing it, in their own way, you might feel like, man, I could do it so much better. Then get up and do it better. Don't look at them and try to tear them down or, throw energy in a subconscious way towards them just because you not, you not where you want to be at, or you don't see yourself in that same light. You need to inspire, you need to find ways to inspire yourself and get up and do something real. You know what I'm saying? Don't, and that's the thing. We going through a time like Cancer, Leo, all this energy. This is where haters development, is kind of low key. Really, it's funny because, I might have to make a separate video about it. I am going to make like a series going through houses again, just to give a general perspective on it. Things like the 12th house and how it represents hidden enemies at times. He said, if it can happen for them, it can happen for me. Right. That's the right mentality we have to have when we see somebody being successful and doing something positive, you know what I'm saying? Or doing something well. You know what I'm saying? Damn, if it can happen for them, it can happen for me. That's exactly the, shout out McCoby, that's the exact mentality we got to have when we're looking at things outside of ourselves, and even for the negative things, to help you not go overboard and talking shit. Just like you might not, you see somebody who might not got it all together, shit, you might jump into something new and not have it all together, or you might go through a bad day where you ain't got quite what you need to be secure. So, it's like a balance thing where even that right there will remind you to give grace at times and keep yourself on equilibrium time where you can stay balanced. But I kind of drifted off Getting back to this Pluto or this Aquarian type energy, Pluto and Aquarius, these transformations are necessary because these are things that's happening on within ourselves, ways that we can rebel within things that, again, due to your new development, your new awareness, you know you can't take those old thoughts and feelings with you. You can no longer think and feel like that. It just don't have a place for it. You can still entertain it, and if you choose to do it, that's a representation of you not taking power and control. Therefore, you'll be subjected to the different transformations in which, or the how Pluto comes, right? If you don't take power and control over it, Pluto will. And what Pluto does is, like, if you think of the allegory of death compared to Pluto, right? Where, think about when someone dies. You really can't plan for it. You know what I'm saying? Now, there's situations and cases in which you can a little bit, you can prepare for it, but you can't plan when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen exactly. You know what I'm saying? You can have, you know, even a person who might have a terminal illness. That don't mean that that's going to be the thing that kills them. You know, a lot of people survive a lot longer than they thought they would, and a lot of people die faster than they thought they would. The thing is, the way death comes, that's Pluto right there. You can't plan for it. It's the rug snatched from you. No time, no rhyme, no reason. But if you take power and control over it, like what we said, you learn, as an example, you learn about a terminal illness you have, you prepare for it. You live your life a certain way, whether that's change your diet, whether that's, you know, get up and do a bunch of things that you want to get done, whether that's tell people how you feel, you know what I'm saying, or tell people what's going on so they can emotionally prepare. Y'all celebrate your life while you're there. And it makes that experience you go through as death, transformation, which is inevitable, change, a lot more smooth. And again, let's equate it to life. Living life itself, knowing you're gonna die one day. Choosing to live for yourself and not just go along with what you think is comfortable and safe. That's Plutonian. Take power and control over yourself. You got to look at what house you got Pluto at to understand what you need to be taking power and control over. If you got Pluto in the first, that's yourself. You don't need to be listening to somebody else's perspective on who you are. You don't need to be taking things personal. Second house, resources. Take power and control over what you got. Your value, your sense of your self-esteem, your sense of self. I mean, your sense of, you know, what you value, your self-esteem and things like that, your confidence. Pluto in the third, take advantage of your surroundings. Do what you can in your group. That's all that matters at the moment. Take advantage of that. Power and control over it. Control that shit. And not in a way where you impose your energy and will on others, but do it to where you take authority for yourself in that area and you prepare yourself for death. You prepare yourself to transform. Any way it has to come, you're willing to go through it. You don't run away from it like most people do with Pluto because they're scared. Fear. We got to look at fear as a lot of the enemy for real. And again, we all gonna feel that feeling, but we cannot allow that to overpower who you are. You can't allow that to become that voice to become louder than your authentic voice, who you really are, what you really want to get done, what you really want to see, what you really want to make happen. You can't let that other voice become more loud than your own. It's a form of possession, and that's how the people who run the world rule you, by getting into your mind, showing you images that make you fucking terrified. You looking at the news, getting so invested in the economy, you're terrified at the moment. It make you not want to spend money. You think, man, I shouldn't invest in my dream at the moment. It's just not a good time for the economy. Bitch, we the economy. We the ones who outside putting in work, going to work, doing this, creating businesses, making things move. And that right there, even in and of itself, is what I mean by even understanding community to a higher degree and the purpose of it. What is the meaning and reasoning for us connecting? It's not just to shake hands and laugh and shit like that. It's because, hey, if I can invest in your dream and you invest in my dream and our dreams are similar, we can probably do a lot more impact in the world that's positive than if we was to try to do it all alone. Which, and again, in this time, in this age, you should understand that nothing alone can really prosper that far. If you don't have a mentality that's at least willing to associate yourself with others who's in the same thing, or you haven't expressed yourself enough to be around people who, you know, have other unique talents that can contribute to maybe something that you have, you're not really going to see no real motion during the next period of time. You're not going to see, and again, like, you live life, you can have a great life, you know what I'm saying? But again, depending on what you're trying to do as a spirit, you might not see motion towards it in the way you would, you know, that in a fast way, in a way that's looking like it's productive and actually getting you ahead of things, or keeping you on pace. You're going to start to see yourself maybe slowly falling behind, even if that's cool for you, to each their own. But you're going to see, it's like, damn, if I had a team, or I only had a association or organization, community around me to actually, you know, not only care about what I got going on, but for me to care about what they got going on. You're not going to have the same movement. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to have the same get up and go energy that is necessary just to live life. You know what I'm saying? You got to remember, life, man, how they say shit, like, you know, I think people forget what life about for real. And like, I'm not even claiming to know all about what life is, but again, this is what a part of this channel is about, talking about life. And it might sound like astrology, and I might use that shit as a tool, but this is beyond that shit. This is like you as a spirit experiencing a human body, and what the why you even, and again, not getting too much into why, but what you're doing here. Because like, who cares why we here? What you finna do while you here? You know, we can ask why all we want. That's what science is for. And now all that stupid bullshit NASA be doing. Why this? Why that? And that shit could be interesting if you into it. Hey, to each their own. But what are you here for real? With your time, it's limited, and we all know that. But we don't know how long, and we don't know how short. What you finna do? Too much waiting be happening. Too much, you know what I'm saying? And again, it's good to be patient. Speaking of patience, we still got the moon, and we still got the Mars in Taurus. Mars and Taurus, that patience has been building and developing, and hopefully you've been actually putting value towards what you're passionate about, and not just expending your energy in things that's actually not productive. That's what Taurus needs. Is it needs focused energy towards things that are productive and realistic. And its purpose is to slow Mars down enough to give it some sense, to give it some direction for real. And you know, but you can think of Mars moving into Gemini as a kid hopping off the porch. You know what I'm saying? When you was finally old enough to walk down the block, you know, get off your mama's front porch and walk down the block with your friends. That's what Gemini is all about. So think about a kid going through that. Everything you learn in that house is what's supposed to be developing your confidence. And that's another conversation about parenting. You know what I'm saying? How the household needs to be something that's instilling confidence in a kid, value given to the kid, for the kid to develop value of self. So when they step out, Gemini as kicking it with their friends, they can talk shit and roast each other and handle being roasted. And they don't have to feel like, oh, I need to shoot up the school as soon as I get joked on because I didn't develop enough self-esteem. You know what I'm saying? But that's a different conversation. But for my point is, what Mars is doing and going through at the moment is that right there. As Mars is gathering its last bit of self-esteem, right? Our passions, before we actually start to communicate these things and step outside. And again, remember, the whole Jupiter and Gemini transit, it's about being willing to be, being open to being wrong, being receptive to new information to develop better wisdom, and not just sticking with what the most popular person is saying, or not just sticking to what you want to tell yourself. That might be an actual illusion and not really rooted in reality. Something you might have to learn. You know, you didn't realize your emotions affected what you could hear. People was talking to you and communicating to you like a real person, but you was too much in your feelings that you distorted reality to only hear what you wanted to hear. That's like that Jupiter square Saturn shit in Pisces. You only heard what you wanted to hear out of the information. So when you jumped into the experience, you kind of embarrassed yourself, or you might have showed your ass. You might have tripped up. You might have not quite landed the stick the landing. You might not have stuck it the right way. You have to be open, receptive to new information. Be willing to be wrong. Admit when you just had something misunderstood, and be okay with that. Because it's about open communication and being willing to have that conversation. being willing to have that conversation in the first place is really the most important thing. You know, not trying to always be right. And again, the moon currently opposite that energy just to make you feel uncomfortable about that. Now, Mars being in Taurus, it's still like 22 degrees, I think. So it's not cuspy yet, but it's finna be. So, you know, as you know, right now, just understand when it comes to your passions, there's a lot of good work that you could be doing if you keep it focused on being productive with the things you're passionate about, using energy for productive means and getting stability and security right. Even if that means saving enough energy for you to get up and go to work, you know what I'm saying? Having enough energy to be patient with what you spend on, be patient about how you use your resources and things like that. And then when it goes into Gemini, it's gonna be, if you did the energy correctly, you're gonna have a lot to talk about. Your passion is gonna have the ability to travel. You know what I'm saying? The ability to expand. You can expand your passions based upon how confident you are in communicating about them. That's coming up. So I'm gonna make it all loop around. Y'all know how I do. It's so many different strains, and I'm feeling I be feeling like when I go live, I never be having enough time for real. I be needing to make a whole off day just to go live, but you know, we gonna get to it. And I got a lot more time than I usually do. So going into the next transit, talking about, I was talking about briefly the moon, talked about opposite Jupiter in Gemini. I started talking about Pluto, but I was talking about opposite Jupiter and Gemini and how that's just uncomfortable with the experiences we're going through. Maybe even feeling like we don't know enough about it, or we don't have enough information to go about it. And you got to remind yourself that's not the point. The point is not to know it all. That's going to be the pressure. And I think that's kind of what Jupiter and Gemini really represents. It's kind of like, you know, you got to be okay with not needing to feel like you know it all. You said, when does Neptune enter Aries? Neptune enters Aries later in the year. I think if I'm not mistaken, I need my planner on me. If I'm not mistaken, it just went retrograde not too long ago. It's going to be like that till like November, December. So I think Neptune will go into Aries, if I'm not mistaken, next year. But what we're experiencing right now is kind of like a reality check when it comes to what we believe in and what our dreams and imagination are geared towards. Because when it does go into Aries, it's going to be wartime towards our dreams, and it's going to be a lot of people who are fighting for the wrong things. But if you are doing, you know, what you're supposed to be doing and planting the right seeds, your dreams will be in alignment where your war tactics are going to be justified. You're going to be fighting in the right, you know, fighting the right fight, basically. And not just kind of going along things and being in some kind of illusion as far as where your aggression is placed. Now, the moon is squaring Saturn in Pisces, retrograde. So this is learning how to feel about reality in a more optimistic way, a way where we can kind of see things. Because when you're talking about Sagittarius and Pisces, Sagittarius is the day side of Jupiter. So it's how we actually can see our philosophy, how we can actually see the meanings and reasonings and have optimism. Whereas Pisces is more about the intuition, the feeling, the connection to what we believe, our belief system. You know, it's like belief and morality. And both of these things kind of work in tandem, but belief is kind of like the overarching theme of your morality. You know what I'm saying? Based upon what you believe, that's how you're going to kind of start to see your reality. You know, and that's basically it. You know, all morality really is like the actual, I guess, somewhat external representation of what you believe. You know, see, that's why when a person is acting in a certain way, that's why even I look at the ninth house, as lifestyle. That's like your lifestyle based upon your belief. It developed into a physical or external morality or way of going about your meanings and reasonings. You know what I'm saying? You have meanings and reasonings based upon what you believe, and how you go about them and execute that shit every day is your is that Sagittarius energy. the external side, you know, where your morality of it, you know, how you go, because like even morality being like how they say moral compass, your moral compass is where your direction is in life. Now with these energy squaring, we're trying to learn our, like, how to really feel, like how do I really feel about what it is I'm trying to construct in my life. And that could be kind of positive or negative. The positive end is, again, it can kind of start to expand the awareness of where you're going and where you're trying to take something. If you've been planting the right seeds, this new comfort zone, you're going to start to see all the ways in which, oh, wow, like I can actually see how far this can go. Versus say you planted the wrong seeds and you haven't been developing new comfort, you might still be stuck in that box. And you're just going to be feeling extremely frustrated with reality, because you're not going to have the right faith to support your moral system. So you're going to feel like, damn, I don't even got the right morals. I must be not, you're not going to feel real. Like you as an individual, not going to feel real. You're going to start to feel like, damn, I'm fake. Damn, and this is when kind of you start to see the Sagittarius energy. A lot of people talk about the Sagittarius energy when it's shot the arrow up. But again, what goes up must come down. What a lot of people don't see is the other side of Sagittarius, which is the type of Sagittarius energy that's actually very low. Tears of a clown type energy, where again, I'm a laugh, and it's all jokes, but y'all don't realize I'm crying inside. Like that type of Sagittarius, the sensitive side of Sag that a lot of people don't even know about. You know what I'm saying? Because Sagittarius are very, very strong-willed, and they idea that they don't want to be responsible for putting that on somebody else. They don't want to be responsible for, you know, being the person who, because they know what it's like to be in the world and have no one else around them to uplift themselves. Shout out to the one. You know what I'm saying? They know what it's like to be in the world and not have no one around them to uplift them. So that's how Sagittarius is be like. That's why, again, you might think a Sagittarius is fake for not showing that side of themselves, or that they not really being real. But what it is, they trying to keep themselves together. They trying to keep themselves going, because they know, hey, if I don't keep shooting for the stars and shit like that, I'm gonna really fall. You know what I'm saying? So Sagittarius be, you know, on that type of time a lot of times where you can't see them really. They don't want you to see them in too much of a vulnerable space, just because that's not their character. They like, nah, I'm trying to provide that uprising, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to provide that leap towards something better. You know, but the positive end of that is that they actually start to develop a sense of themselves where again, they do bring a optimism type vibe. They do bring a good energy that makes you feel like, oh, like, okay, luck can actually happen. Something good can actually happen. Something positive can come from this. And that's just going through the experience and having a perspective that's open enough to catch when things are happening. Again, assigning meanings and reasonings to things that create the motivation to keep going. You know, that's like part of synchronicities and stuff. We create our own synchronicities just by being in the right space mentally. And that's kind of going to like what I was saying in the very beginning, where the strength of your mentality becomes the most important thing. How strong your mental is, because a strong mental, again, is y'all know, strong spirits out here, y'all know when we put our mind to something and we really put in the work to structure our mind on something, as far as like having conviction in it and having belief in ourselves, we start to see so many more synchronicities, and they build and multiply off of that. That really be when you're making, like, where it feels like you're making progress. See, when you're not doing that for yourself, and let's say you just going through life and you not really, you letting everything kind of influence you, this is where you start to feel like you living chaotically, or feeling like nothing really matters, or nothing starts to make sense, because you're not putting in the work to make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? You're waiting for something, a sign outside of you to show you the light, or whatever it is that you in an illusion about. And that's what majority of religion is even. You know what I'm saying? Majority of religion is here giving a lot of people this false hope into some kind of imaginary thing, giving the esoteric thumbs up for them to feel like they're in the right, or they should pursue something. But all that waiting around energy, really all you doing is putting energy invested into what they want you to believe, their worldview and stuff like that. So you become trapped in that. That's how they trap souls. You know, so now you're sitting around waiting for something to give you confirmation, when you were supposed to just get up and do it. And then the proper way God is supposed to work is through you, not God, please do this for me. Like that ain't respectable energy in no reality. There's no reality in which that's respectable. Unless what? Unless you like a kid, like a little kid who can't do it. You know, and that's how they treat y'all. They treat y'all like little kids because they're little kids, but they're a little older than you, so they bully y'all, make y'all go to work and shit. Make y'all do, you know, make y'all do their bidding, make y'all go to court systems and testify and stuff like that, and play their games and stuff, and be who they want you to be and stuff. You know, pray to their gods and do what they want to do, build their world, play with their Legos and shit like that. Yeah, like move my Lego over here, you know. But now, all that being said, we play the game how we play the game. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But for the most part, you know, what's real is so again, that's the moon. Shout out to Stephen Marino, you know what I'm saying? He said speculative slavery is one of the most fucked up things. Shout out to Harith Ha. Yes, that's exactly what it is, speculative slavery. You know, I was having a convo with my dad and shit like that about, you know, voting and stuff. I'm like, voting, and I'm like, you know, because, you know, older folks will say some shit like, you know, a lot of people died for you to have the right to vote. And I'm like, what we voting for? And why should I be proud of that? Because we still, again, not only is we still in some form of a slave format where people got to go to work, people got to, you know what I'm saying, be mentally abused all day to get the crumbs in order to come back home and feel proud of themselves. I'm like, it's still slavery, and it's you still not even voting for shit that can go in your favor. You voting for two things that's going completely out of your favor. You wasn't even in the room to have conversations on what need to be fixed. You know what I'm saying? And then they'll say some shit like run for office. No. What needs to happen is, again, it's the same thing. Like, what's respectable is building something that works and then showing it. That's simple. But again, that's a conversation for a different time, you know what I'm saying? But you got to really think about it. All that riot in the streets and I'm gonna bomb this and I'm gonna do this and all that other stuff, that don't go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? That don't go nowhere. I mean, yeah, you can, you know, you can get, it does something in a certain space, but it's like, it don't do nothing real. You know what I'm saying? It don't do nothing real. Because you got to understand that when it comes to the world and shit like that, it's about order and chaos. They look at themselves as providing order. You feel me? So you got to understand, when they see you wilding out, all they can think of is, if I don't let go, this motherfucker gonna create chaos in the world I built. So yeah, we gonna get you the fuck out. Anything you want that don't look like how we think order should go is how is getting kicked out, period. So, you know, and can you blame them? I mean, y'all see humans and how most people act and shit like that. Like, a lot of people, like I said before, lazy spirit syndrome or lost spirit syndrome, and they do things that make you go, damn, that's some human ass shit. Why would you do that? Why would you think that's smart or intelligent? And most people are so willing to give their mind away and not use it, not build it, not to do nothing with it. Just, please take this from me, Lord, please. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, can you blame them? You know what I'm saying? But see, the thing is, on top of that though, if you are in a position to be aware, you know, you now have a choice. And part of that choice is get with other people who got that similar level of awareness. Whether you, and again, each one teach one. You a student, you learn from people who know other things than you. I'm not gonna say more than you, but just other things, and vice versa. You teach those who don't know what you know that you know is right, that you here to bring as an awareness. That develops that level. Again, that's what ties everything together. That's real building. You know what I'm saying? That's real building. The human aspect of it is, there's always going to be issues with ego. There's always going to be small clashes amongst individuals. But the point is, can y'all communicate and get to a clear space? Can y'all associate with each other responsibly? Even if you got to agree to disagree. And again, that ain't gotta, when I say that, I'm not talking about being petty and, oh, I'm just not gonna say nothing to this person, because it's about respect. You know what I'm saying? It's about respect in a sense, you know, and I get it. You can only respect what respects you. But again, that's where as a spirit, you got to mature yourself. You got to get mature. You got to mature, set boundaries and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? It don't got to be a tit for tat all the time. You know what I'm saying? He said, bro, most niggas, he said, most niggas one claim things they were never a part of, which is exactly, bro. Like, you wasn't there, nigga. You don't know. You don't know what you talking about. You was not there. You was not in the room knowing that that was the purpose of that shit. And I'm glad you said that, bro. Because it be always people trying to use something as an example. And it's like, you don't even know if that, like, even me alone, right? I'm not the most intelligent in the world. I look at certain things and just be like, look, we can see that everything in this country, it has double meanings, and all meanings go to the benefit of the people who run it. Because in real life, anybody who builds a business gonna position that business to be beneficial to them. It might help people along the way, but I'm, as a business owner, I'm never going to put in place any system within my business that don't go toward in my favor. Just simple as that, for the success of the business to run. What's the point? You know what I'm saying? Like, people are crazy, yo. But it's like, you was not there. You don't know what that was for. They gave you the right to vote so you can shut up. But they still ain't give you no choice. Still ain't give you no choice. He said, Tribe Vibe. Shout out to the Hang Empress Veronica in the building. He said, Tribe Vibe, small communities. Right. And see, small communities that, and when we say small, we just mean in terms of comparison to majority of what the world is following, based upon not knowing better at the moment, not having another example. And that's where, again, individuals like us come into place, where if you got a better way to see the world, build that. Find people who agree with you. As y'all continue to build and grow, you get the attention of others, and you pick up others along the way who's interested in doing it how you doing it. Eventually, again, you got something substantial. Like, I'm in the media business, right? So a lot of what you understand about, or even film, right? When you're getting a film produced and you pitch it, right? If you're trying to pitch a film and you're trying to get it greenlit, you might think, oh, it's all about the story, and I gotta have the best story, the best writing, the best film. When you'll be fucking surprised to understand that it has nothing to do with that at all. It's about the target audience, the potential audience, and if there's already an audience that's invested to give us the comfort to know that we're gonna make a return on that investment that's profitable. Let's take that analogy and put it in the place of building community, right? As individuals, we create systems that look like it can be self-sustained. We show success in certain areas. We show how it operates, the benefits of it, show better people in a better state of being, better lifestyle, doing more expansive things, more interesting things, more innovative things within that space, and how it can influence the world, right? We have examples of going, outside that community, but to impact actual other people's lives based upon what's being created within there, and the energy it involved in the connections made within that network and within that community. That's the equivalent of pitching an idea to the individuals who might have more power in certain areas, right? Or access, or part of the behind the scenes conversations that constructed the world that we are, all the system that we all operating within. But we got something to show for it to pitch. Be like, look, this is what it looked like. And I'm not talking about literally going and knocking on their door like, hey, y'all, look. They gonna notice because it's happening on their land. But it's like, again, it's self-sustained. It's operating in an effective way. It's prosperous. Boom. Now we in business. Now, you know what I'm saying? Now you speaking the language. You know what I'm saying? Now you in business. You know, I ain't gonna talk too much further about that, because that starts to become something that really needs to be had in person in real conversations. But my point, you know what I'm saying, my point in all that. But getting back to the astrology stuff, right? When it comes to the moon being in Sagittarius, again, within yourself, when it comes to your own morality, it's gonna need to change and expand if you're gonna reach that new comfort zone successfully. It's about time you start to believe different things about yourself. It's about time you start to see different meanings and reasonings in what it is you're invested in. And however that's got to look for you, again, hopefully it's looking in the positive way of planting good seeds where you're starting to see, damn, I actually have a lot more potential to expand than I thought. I actually have a lot more reach and ability in spaces that I never thought I'd be confident enough to speak my truth in. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully it's in that area and not the other area where you feel overwhelmed by some of the things that you're trying to be more comfortable about because you didn't take advantage and you didn't take initiative at times it was supposed to take initiative. Remember, this is a cardinal energy. You was been supposed to take initiative emotionally, dealing with how you feel to get over that feeling and get done what you need to get done in the spaces that are requiring you to step up. You know what I'm saying? There'd be things in our lives. We claim we want to do this, claim we want to do that, but you don't ever step up to the occasion. God be giving all these opportunities and spaces, manifesting all these situations for you to step up, and you keep on stepping back. That's an L. You know what I'm saying? That's taking an L for real. And again, give yourself some grace, but get on your ass and be like, yo, why am I not doing this yet? Why am I not? I'm tripping. Let me chill out. Let me just do it. Again, you got 5 days for this energy before it's Leo season, and then it's locked in. You can still change, but it's a lot harder. And then remember, by that time, Mars gonna be in Gemini. So there's gonna be a lot of conversations about being had about things that's already had a substantial amount of investment in, whether behind closed doors or in some kind of patient manner. You know how Taurus do. Patient, come down, stay down till you come up. That's all investment energy. You know, that's the 2nd and 8th house interaction. Value and investment. Mars going into Gemini, it's gonna be time to communicate that. But here you are in some kind of weird space where you trying to project the energy you want to be, but you didn't develop the support for that. You didn't develop the moon for that. You didn't have enough conversations with your inner self, like, to get comfortable. So now you lack the, you roaring with the other lions, but your roar a little weaker because you just not confident in it. And ain't nothing wrong with it. You just ain't got no confidence behind it. And that's how we have to understand things at the moment. It's like, ain't nothing it might not be that I'm doing something wrong. It just it might simply be I'm not confident in it yet. And see, in this energy, the moon in Sagittarius, here we are able to expand our emotions on that. But again, it's up to you whether you do it for your benefit or do it to your detriment. That's the key at the moment. And again, you're getting hit with a lot of angles from the moon at the moment. Like we just was talking about. Square, like I just said, uncomfortable in learning how to feel about the reality about what I was like learning how to feel about the reality of what you're building or expanding into. So again, that's that imposter syndrome energy where it's like you might not feel like you fully fit the role, but you better act like it if you really like you got to believe in yourself. It can't even be a question at this point. Do you believe in yourself or not? And you know what I'm saying? Like, only until you believe in yourself without a question, will you actually start to see the results of that belief system. And I'm not saying being rooted in delusion, because that goes into why you still don't believe yourself, because you know damn well you're not doing the things you're supposed to do on and off the court, behind closed doors and in front of people. But if you are, then what are you waiting for? Oh, you just taking time because you think you got hella time, but you don't. Shit finite. Can't waste that shit, man. I can't reiterate that enough. Don't waste that shit. But now, Moon in Sagittarius trines Chiron. So you already know what mistakes you got to stay away from. You already know. You got to understand at this point. Okay, cool. You got to understand at this point, choices you make, if you choose to still stay within those same patterns that are mistakes, that's on you, and you're doing it purposely. That's you trying to escape from something. That's that Sagittarius rebellion. You trying to escape from something. You know that's not wise. You know what I'm saying? We actually have the opportunity to be a lot more wise about our mistakes. And even the opportunity from Jupiter and Chiron to talk ourselves out of mistakes. Or at least be, like I said, open to receive new information that can help us adjust our experiences and how we're going about them to avoid mistakes at the moment. We had that power at the moment. So why ignore that? That's a very, and you got to understand that you chose to make that mistake again. At this point, you've been supposed to know better. You chose that. So ain't no, you can give yourself grace if you want, but you know it's not justified. It's like, come on. You made that mistake on purpose. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm feeling a lot of the Capricorn energy right now. More so than the Sag energy. See, the Sag energy usually is all about fun and just wanting to expand, but this time around it actually feels a lot more serious. It's kind of like, yo, grow up. You know what I'm saying? It's like energy that's telling you, like, yo, it's time to grow up, man. You can't still be doing the same things you was doing as a little kid spirit. Like, unless that's where you want to be. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you want to do, then go ahead. But this not, you know, it's not no time for games. Even though it's summertime and shit like that, it's like, it's not no time for games. There's a certain level of seriousness you should be welcoming into your life, you know. And again, I feel like a lot of that probably is the sun getting closer to Pluto too, where we feel the need to transform based upon what we see. You know, it's new shoes to fill. You know what I'm saying? You said also Vatican popes have heavy Sag energy. Oh, a lot of Vatican popes have heavy Sag energy, right? Because that's what Sag's good for. Inspiration and rallying people with a common moral system and stuff like that. That's why, like, Sag goes along with Aquarius and stuff. And why, like, even a lot of cults and stuff like that had that spiritual aspect to them, where they manipulated people's need for direction in a moral sense. That's what even, again, a pope in position and a preacher, they all do the same thing. That's why it comes with the Sag energy. It's that ability to influence through emotion. You know what I'm saying? I influenced you, I inspired you, I done took you, now I can take you wherever I want to go with you. You know what I'm saying? If a person is dependent on that, you know, Sag represents that light right after Scorpio. So a lot of people gravitate to the church when they in heavy, vulnerable, dark moments, and that preacher, whatever they said on that stage, starts to become that little light that starts to make them say, oh, I see it, and follow it like a moth to a flame. But we supposed to be doing this with ourselves. We supposed to be able to inspire ourselves, you know what I'm saying, or be willing to keep going through experiences that develop wisdom, so that when we go through fall, like, that's the whole idea of Sag too, going through the fall. Like, you go through different experiences in life that drag you down, but the whole thing is Sagittarius becomes that way that we see ourselves out of that, which 9 times out of 10 is you learn something that helped you cope with what didn't sit right with you as a vulnerability. Now, some people don't actually heal through that. Some people still maintain that same level of hurt, and but they use that religion or whatever it is as a drug, and they keep hitting themselves with it every time things go bad. So they say, oh yeah, like, you know, and these will be the people in church you see who, as far as a character, they're not a good person. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can go to church and still be a good person. You know what I'm saying? These religions and shit like that, you could be a genuinely good person and still, you know, whatever. But you also meet a lot of those very nasty spirited people who, it's like, damn, like, your character is terrible, but you wearing that Bible on your sleeve and shit like that. Like, it's crazy, you know. It's not no real change developed. They didn't learn. They didn't read the whole Bible, know every scripture, but as a character, they never applied these things to themselves. They think the Bible is just a storybook and not an allegory, you know, of themselves. They get confused and lost, and it becomes kind of like a situation where that's why spiritual practitioners, we be looking at the preachers like, you know, y'all, it's like sometimes it don't be their fault, but it's like y'all not doing y'all whole job. And if you gonna be a preacher, if you gonna be an actual, you know, pope or a religious figure, you need to be able to, you know, you got to go deeper a little bit, and you got to know what you talking about. Because again, you could be an effective preacher, and because you have a sense of spirituality, even though you're using the Bible as it's like you're using the Bible as a tool, same way I be using astrology as a tool. That's now you're a hard preacher that's doing things in the right way. But if you're a preacher and you using the Bible because you leaning on the Bible and you don't actually have no understanding of life and spirituality beyond the tool you're using, well, now you're leading people down what could potentially be a wrong direction or a wrong street. You leading people off the cliff. You know what I'm saying? So it's just something to consider. If you are going to be a preacher and say your whatever your religion or denomination is, yeah, get that book, learn the ins and outs of that book, but you gotta go deeper. You gotta actually have the spiritual awareness, the subconscious awareness to guide and be a teacher for real. You know what I'm saying? It's like too many preachers is not really teachers. You know, they just, again, God forbid you did it for the check. Even though I know they probably don't make that, well, some probably do. You know what I'm saying? But it's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. So, yeah. So, Moon trining, and that's a gift too. Moon trining Chiron, that's a gift. That's really a gift. But you might overlook it based upon just how you feel and wanting to escape the responsibility of change. You know what I'm saying? The moon trines the north node, so being able to emotionally accept expanding into our spiritual path, you know. But and then on the south node, it's the opportunity for us to utilize our south node past experience and things that we've mastered previous times before, as it's the opportunity to use these things to help us gain emotional comfortability, and also can contribute to the progress of our spiritual path, you know, based upon understanding what you've already been mastered, as far as, like, say you've actually been walking the path, right, speaking your truth, being authentic and genuine. What happened is a lot of those relationships that needed to fall off fell off, and the ones that are supposed to maintain are already here. So that's an opportunity now you have as support to continue along your spiritual path, even though you still somewhat alone on that path. You know what I'm saying? Because it's in Aries. So that's, I think, why there's a confusion in the air where everybody's mad separate, but trying to figure out why they should even give a fuck about either community or trying to relate. Because again, even with you know, conversations between men and women, like dating and shit like that, like the common world shit, as far as how they go about dating and stuff, a lot of them are creating scenarios where it's resistance, but at the same time they can't help it, but they really just want somebody in their corner. You know what I'm saying? It's a crazy time. But everybody on a spiritual level is going through a very isolated experience. And that's why, even this being a year 8, that's kind of where things can get muddy too, where this is the type of year to really test a lot of those relationships, and again, can either come out stronger or come out weaker, just based upon people understanding either that that's not where they want to be, or people coming to the conclusion that they not really it's not where they want to be. It's not really them. That's really the core of it. This is not really me. Whatever connection this is, whatever community this is, whatever networking system this is, whatever job, it like all down the line, this is not really me. And that's what's created mass separation from things. Because again, the North Node in Aries is like, you have no choice but to either step and honor that. And even if you choose to ignore that, it creates so much of a resistance that everybody coming to the same conclusion. In the year 8 is so much time invested into deep thought about that very thing. Transformation, death, what's not actually in alignment, what's kind of, you know, throwing you off. You know what I'm saying? What's been throwing me off is I just been investing in the wrong shit. So you got to keep that in mind. The moon in Sag. Let's see what else. In conjunct, is it in conjunct? Yeah, in conjunct Mars at the moment. So misunderstanding how to feel about our passions. So we might not feel like either we know enough about our passions, so we might need more research. This is good energy for that. So, you know, because you got Sag, which is the philosophical curiosity, right? The meaning and reasoning and the creative information behind it, right? But then you also have Taurus, which is being grounded and rooted in something, securing yourself in it. So you might want to learn and expand on stuff that can make you more secure about your passions if you take that misunderstanding in the right direction. If you take it in the wrong direction, you might just say, I won't clear that misunderstanding up and continue to be ignorant about the thing you're claiming to be passionate about. It's not going to be helpful to you later down the line. You know, when this energy shifts, and you might have an opposition you're dealing with, or you might have, you know, a different alignment that makes it more difficult to see what you didn't clear up when it was just a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding is right before it becomes an opposition. A lot of head-on collisions could be avoided if the misunderstanding was cleared up in time. You driving on the road, you slip in a lane, or somebody else ahead of you slips and does some weird stuff on the road. It's a misunderstanding because either you or them are not abiding by the normal rules of the road. So again, an adjustment is needed to be made. If you make that adjustment successfully, or they make it, but you being aware of it, y'all know you got to drive for yourself and others. You making the adjustment towards that mistake helps that mistake smooth out and be a smooth passing. If you don't, though, head-on collision. You know what I'm saying? If you pull the wrong direction, or you're not even paying attention, say you on your phone, you look up, that person made a mistake, but instead of being in a space where you could catch it, that misunderstanding, you just let it pass. Boom. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind with Mars. Learn about what you're passionate about. Learn about it. Get into it. You know what I'm saying? Really get into it. Invest some time and energy into that. See if you can expand on it. And again, it might be something you really want to do and you're nervous to do, but you learn a little bit about it. You're like, damn, I ain't even nervous to do this. This is actually the best plan I could ever come up with. That's the type of vibes going on right now. Moon, let me see. Is it? Yes, this is Sag. So the other in conjunction would be, no. Sag opposite Gemini. Oh, what's that? Taurus on the other side. Oh, Cancer. That's what it is. Yeah, moon in conjunct. Oh yeah, the moon in conjunct the sun. That's what it was. I was trying to remind myself what it was. Even with the sun, again, misunderstanding, and that's kind of breaking down the essence of what I was saying. Even the relationship between Sag, the expansion, and then into that new comfort zone, misunderstanding. You know, because like you don't have the right moral system for something you haven't felt yet. You know, but that's what you have to step into and develop. You know what I'm saying? As you jump into it, based upon what you believe about what's possible and about yourself and your abilities, that'll determine the better better substances you have to construct your morality and things like that. So again, go through that little misunderstanding about between how you feel and what you see, so that you can commit to the right things. You know, commit to actually continuing on with the expansion, even though you're uncomfortable at the moment, acknowledging the fact that, hey, everything was uncomfortable at one point in time, but until once I expand in it, I'm going to make it comfortable, and have that confidence to follow through with it, and the willingness to go through it, even if you don't feel like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that's going to make you better. Go through with it. You know, don't be too scared to the point where you deny yourself that shit. Yeah, what else? So we got Mercury. Mercury's in Leo, but it's going fast as hell. It's almost in Virgo. So Mercury gonna, I like to say Mercury is exalted in Virgo. So, you know, this is a time where at the moment we're communicating from a, you know, again, where communication is on center stage in general. You know, the better your communication, the better you're gonna stand out, and it's gonna be something to be kind of set you up for a maybe a more prosperous Leo season. The conversations you have, the willingness to express yourself through communication, that's going to that's already setting the stage for now the sun to come in and do what it do. And then when Mercury shifts into Virgo, it's going to start to be the analyzer, the ability to adjust, fix, and tweak things in order for your stage to be even more sufficient. Or it could be self-criticism. Again, if you didn't develop that confidence when you go into this Leo energy and Mercury switches into Virgo, again, Mercury exalted, but it's going to be exalted towards self-criticism, you overthinking your expression, you overthinking every damn thing, you overthinking the friends that you didn't communicate to, the people in your community or whoever is around you, relationship that you didn't communicate and express your true self to, that job that you didn't say what you need to say at, all these different things that you didn't say when it was time to say it, are going to come back in Virgo and start to become things you overthink on, things that can congest you and stress you out. You know what I'm saying? Where your mind now, it becomes consumed by everything that is either not addressed or not, again, that starts to feel like a burden on you. You know what I'm saying? You're going to feel like, damn, I ain't got it all together. This shit ain't working for me yet. And it's going to start to worry you out, stress you out. But if you communicated, you was expressing yourself and you was doing what you're supposed to do with Mercury and Leo, you was even supporting others, communicating about what you see from them and how to, you know what I'm saying, how you see yourself, communicating in a way that respects that. If you've been doing that, you set a certain tone for yourself. So now when Mercury goes into Virgo, you done got a lot of the nerves out. You already got on stage and you did your first couple scenes and you killed it. Now you feeling comfortable, you feeling confident. Now when you go onto the stage the next time, you can add all kinds of new techniques to your characters, to your character, to your acting. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I got a few scenes out the way, I got the jitters out. Now you step back on stage for your next scene. It's like, damn, okay, now I understand my characters in this mental space, so I can start to make these kind of facial expressions. And then you took their performance to a whole nother level. That's just an analogy for us in our everyday life. It's like you've been already putting those things out to develop that comfort. Now you actually low-key comfortable. When you step back out on that stage and it's time to actually shine as Leo season, you're going to be able to, in real time, adjust yourself to make more sense, to be more effective, more productive, more efficient in certain areas. Boom. And then again, now you really going to be cooking. You know what I'm saying? That's the energy of Mercury and Leo currently making its way into Virgo. And I don't know if we got a Mercury retrograde coming up. I feel like we do. It's just, you know, the Mercury don't get too far from the sun. So we might just get hit with one sometime next month. Yeah, because where we at? We at the 17th. So maybe sometime next month, it might be somewhat of a, yeah, some kind of Mercury retrograde energy going on. So, you know, keep that in mind too. You know, you want to take advantage of Mercury while it's moving, how it's moving. You know what I'm saying? Communication seems to be key right now, like as far as just making sure that you are saying what you need to say and not really holding too many punches, because the alternative to that is overthinking, and that leads to that stagnation energy, a development of anxiety and fear that keeps you, you know, immobile. And this is the time where we got to be moving, because if you're not moving now, when the fall comes, you're not quite gonna have all the fruits of your labor lined up in a way that's gonna keep you fed throughout the fall and the winter. You know what I'm saying? And you might not have enough things to offer others when you get to that table in Libra, where it's gonna be time to break bread. Esoterically, you know what I'm saying? Esoterically. Now, when we talk about the moon in Sag, you see, we talked about what's going on in Pisces. We talked about, and moon also squaring Neptune too. So you know, not really feeling comfortable about what we're even imagining quite yet. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to expand on it, but it's still uncomfortable because it's not, you know, we don't know what it's going to turn into now, you know? So that might be a little nerve-wracking, but try not to overstress that, because that's not really your problem. All you have to address is the changes necessary that's going to help you be a more authentic you. And part of that is going within yourself and separating from things that's still keeping you stagnant, that are fear-based. old belief systems, old patterns, addictions to certain things that you're using as escapism. All these different things are going to have to be what you are committed to changing and destroying and transforming in your life. Yep. So we talked about, yeah, Pisces. We talked about Aries, Gemini, Taurus. What's in Gemini? Yeah, we talked about Gemini, and we talked about we even talked about Pluto in Aquarius. We talked about yeah, the Neptune, I mean, yeah, the Capricorn energy. Okay, moon is in Sag currently. So yeah, that's where the moon is heading towards that moon and Pluto. So we're gonna go live again talking about preparation for that. You know, that's the thing, man. We just stepping into that transformation. It's just the further step towards it. You know what I'm saying? We getting there, you know. So take these steps with, you know, confidence. It's like, okay, I'm here. If I'm ready, then I'm ready. And I need to represent that everywhere I go. And even if I don't feel ready, if I decided that I'm ready, I have to put myself into that space to be ready, because I'm ready. Like, I know that sounds weird, but I'm putting it together that way for a reason. It's like, we have to really understand that, like, look, you can dream about it all you want, but until you commit to it, whether you feel prepared for it or whatever, you'll never see it happen. You know, you have to be what you want to see, in a nutshell. You know what I'm saying? So take that for what it's worth. Hopefully this message resonated with you. Again, thank you all who physically showed up, and thank y'all for who been supporting in other ways. Even if you just tap the like button, I appreciate you for supporting the 717 conference. We had a really great time down here in Atlanta. Can't wait to see y'all again. A lot of cool stuff on the way. I got a special announcement I'm gonna make. I think it's either gonna be the Leo new moon or it's either gonna be Leo season or the Leo new moon. And I'm leaning more towards the new moon. So be on the lookout for that. You know, cool, exciting things just developing at the moment. So, you know, I want to keep all y'all updated. So I'm gonna be hitting y'all emails, all those who, you know, bought tickets to the 717 conference. I'm gonna be hitting y'all emails soon. I want to hear from y'all feedback and things like that. So I'm gonna be reaching out to y'all so we can continue these things to get better and better, you know. And yeah, I don't want to give away too much, but I just had to say thank y'all. Y'all have a wonderful 717 day. Enjoy yourselves. Spend time with self. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you get that separate individual space for you to put more energy towards you. You know, and again, it's about giving you back that energy. That's what, you know, 717. It's about more, but you know, I don't want to go too long on it. But shout out to all y'all. Much love, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.